to erase certain parts of the image, often the subject, which usually happens to be an American person, right? The main subject of the images. In some ways, I think of myself as taking the power away from these memories and inserting my hand as a reclamation to the land and the people, and not the harmful parts of military presence. But at the same time, this extraction, what does it mean? What becomes of the image and even the subject after? Is this a reclamation of an arranger, an attempt at revisionist justice history? Is it a personal act to find power in a situation that we as Eritreans had none in during this time period? All of these questions begin bubbling to the surface and are questions I'm considering as I move forward. And all of these questions formulate a conversation, right? Sorry, making sure the slide's moving. Formulate a conversation, problematizing the notions that these images hold. I want this body of work to allow a new and different meaning and make space for dialogue, and in doing so, to create a new artifact and something new altogether. And in bringing the possibility of considering how this may even bring a contemporary dialogue as well. Saidiya Hartman writes, the archive dictates what can be said about the past and the kind of stories that can be told about the person cataloged, embalmed, and sealed away in a box of folios. And by considering this digital landscape that the archive exists in and inserting my own hand, there's a new set of possibilities to consider. And these are narratives that through memory morph, right? We can think of memory as a ever-changing things, like, are shared in a way that gives me liberty and access. In a lot of ways, I don't think of this process as an erasure, but an attempt to fill the gaps, and in doing so, embed the history into more of a scarring within the images themselves. Tina Camp, author of Listening to Images, says, what's so compelling to me are the stories behind these images. I encourage people to listen to these images. They have an impact on us because of what we see, but my argument is that we need to open ourselves up to a broader encounter with the image that goes beyond what we see. What does it mean for this person to be dressed in this way and need to have a photograph like this taken? What did these images mean for these people and their communities, and what do these images mean for us? And Tina Camp was obviously talking about a different archive, but I think it's very applicable to the way that I'm thinking and working about this one as well. And as I work through this project, I know I can leave with more questions and answers, but I'm okay with that. I'm interested in the endless possibilities of working with the archive and creating something new altogether, right? And the archive becomes an activating space to build upon my interrogations of identity, history, and memory. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tehan. Does
you.
anyone have any questions?
Hi, Tehan. I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you kind of consulted the works of any other artists who are working with recreation in terms of like an existing archival image or existing thing and creating new stories from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think especially in thinking of the formal technique, I'm one of the artists that when I was first considering working with the archive and I wasn't sure how to go about it, and I was doing research about all these different ways, the artist that really has stuck with me throughout this whole research and art making process is Ken Gonzalez-Day. He has a series called Erased Lynchings, and it's in American context, Black history, American context, and talking about utilizing archives from institutions. I don't know exactly, I think academic institutions of lynchings and erasing the Black person who's being murdered, right? And then what are you left with, right? And so even that small gesture and then what you're left with, just seeing that work was really impactful for me to think about how you can position the audience to think about what's happening differently in the image.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Does anybody else have a question for Tehan?
Tehan, it's a great presentation. It's really, I haven't imagined that seeing this kind of like erasing and then seeing, and so the question is a little bit more technical aspects about it. So when you erase some certain part of that, how you decide and how actually where, like, you know, for example, someone with a gun, and then you decide like only the person, and they probably leave the gun, and then how much actually you're gonna, you know, erase, and then how you're gonna see that tension in yourself, like aesthetically. So how you actually decide like where you're gonna go, and then, or when you look at the image and then automatically it came to your mind, just, oh, I have to erase this one, and I'm gonna work on this, and then attract you, you know.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome question. And that there have been some, so there are some things that I was doing that were kind of contradicting each other, and I had a lot of questions about. So there were some images where I would just erase the faces and not the bodies. And I got asked a lot of questions about that. And I think and as I was trying different things with, right, because each image kind of acts as its own individual narrative. And I think with the one with the gun, I didn't want to, I just I felt like formally the image was just interesting, right? With that kind of conversation happening. But I'm trying new techniques and thinking about different ways to kind of complicate the narrative, right? Because this isn't just a narrative where I'm simply critiquing the existence of the military, right? They were also there's children a part of this conversation, people who grew up there, who were born there, or Eritrean Americans, or so it's complicated. And so I'm trying to find new ways to obstruct the way that we're accessing the image, and to kind of reflect that complexity. But I think genuinely with each image, I'm just kind of working intuitively, right? Like with that one image with the text underneath, I was just interested in the composition, the diptych, right? Like some of these archives are coming from individual family archives. Some of them are, so that those two images were working together. And yeah, so I'm doing a lot of collaging and abstracting, but it really depends on each image, I think.
Thank you. Yeah. So if you have a website, just put in the chat so I can look at your images later too. Okay.
Yeah. So these images aren't on my website yet, but I'd be more than happy to share with you, Dr. Shin, since it's an ongoing process. But yeah, I'll definitely share that.
Great. Thank you so much for the questions. It's now 10:20, so I think we're going to move on to Seoyeon, and I will start by reading out her bio. So Seoyeon Kim is a PhD student in the Art and Visual Culture Education Program at the University of Arizona. As a bilingual 1.5G Korean living in the USA, Seoyeon has diverse experiences working with the K through 12 children and teaching pre-service elementary teachers in both South Korea and the United States. Highly interested in autoethnography, social justice, storytelling, narrative art, and interdisciplinary multicultural arts education, Seoyeon pays close attention to her personal narratives to understand and question her ever-changing surroundings and identity. So fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Seoyeon, and go for it whenever you're ready. Super excited to hear your talk.
Hey, Mattea, really quick, since Seoyeon came in a little late, I think you need to make her a co-host so she can share.
Oh, so she can share the screen. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you should be able to do that now.
All right.
Great.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry for logging in late because I was having some technical issue with my laptop, and as you can see, my screen is also not working. So hopefully my presentation will do the job of, instead of my face. Yes, so thank you for introducing me. So as you all know, I'm a PhD student in art and visual culture education at University of Arizona, and I will be mostly focusing on my personal experience as a 1.5 generation Korean living in the USA, and my experience of what multiculturalism mean to me based on how I grew up in the US and how I've been based on like what I've observed in different community settings and schools that I've been to as a student teacher and as teacher. So can you all see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, okay, yeah. The title of my presentation for today is Multiculturalism in Art Education, Wandering in and Outside of the Third Space to Explore Self-Identity and Use Art as Voice for the Voiceless. All right. So for today's presentation, I'll be, the first half will be my autoethnography, and I'll be sharing like a narrative of my timeline, I guess, of how I grew up in the US. So yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I cannot remember the last time I did not feel like an alien. For most of my life, I have been traveling and entering in and out of spaces of familiarity and unfamiliarity. Originally born in Seoul, South Korea, I have left my motherland at a very young age with my parents and an older brother. I still remember the very first day I've stepped out of the Philadelphia airport and the blazing heat of mid-July summer hit my tan skin. I remember the faces of relief on both of my appa and amma's faces after hours of intense waiting and getting questioned by a man who did not look like one of us. Squinting from the brightly exposed sunlight, I looked around with the feelings of excitement, uncertainty, and curiosity to understand my surroundings and to let my eyes swallow all the new things that I've never encountered before. Third space. Third space is a social cultural term by Homi K. Baba, designates communal space distinct from the first and second space and allows the uniqueness of each person, actor, or context as a hybrid. It's where the fusion of different flavors and colors of individuals meet, share, and shape a new experience. According to Brian Wilson, within art education, the third space has been described as a common, deformalized space of collaboration and culture sharing between students and teachers that is situated between the spaces of formal school art and informal art. So as a 1.5G or a generation immigrant and a person of color in the US, I have definitely crossed various routes and I have faced several dead ends and dismantled barriers. So all of these experiences have taught me invaluable life lessons, and I guess till these days, and as an art educator, they constantly motivate me to bring attention to diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice to our community. So as I said before, multicultural art education is something that I feel very passionate about, and it is something that brings my attention to the topic because I feel like it has been always here. It has been always been around in the educational field, and especially in art education. But I feel like the meanings have been changing, and the ways how educators are teaching these topics are also changing. So I thought maybe like sharing my point of view and perspective on it will bring a different light to the multiculturalism and multicultural art education. So definitely with the growing population of immigrants and groups of students in schools becoming more heterogeneous and more minority groups are forming, it is crucial that we bring the light to multiculturalism in classrooms, and compared to what multicultural art education has been from 5 to 10 years ago, I feel like there's definitely some progress in bringing attention to the issue, but I feel like both students and teachers are still struggling to meet the basic needs of students, or even providing them with additional skills in classrooms to bring diversity and inclusion. So these are some of the questions that I tend to look at and try to focus on regarding multicultural art education. And on top of that, I'm also very interested in how to encourage like immersion bilingual learners or multilingual learners to use multiculturalism and art as voice to embrace their individuality, because often these are just the people who are left out and their voices are not always being heard. So using art as an expression and as voice to really let their voice be heard and be present in today's society is, I think, is crucial. So here's 3 other questions. So later in the presentation, I will talk about the conflict resolution strategies, also known as CRS, and bring in this strategy into multicultural art lesson plans to really looking at the framework of how multicultural art lesson can be used based on these strategies to encourage critical thinking and self-confidence and self-reflection for both educators and students. So going back to my personal narrative, as you see in the picture, there's, you see a family of geese. So there's a phenomenon in South Korea called Kiragi family, which is one of the most well-known type of transnational family in Asian countries. And Kiragi family describes a family where one parent, usually the father, who works in Korea or in their motherland, while the other parent raises their child in a foreign country, which is usually with the intent of improving English skills for better changes, prestigious education, or some are even motivated by the frustration towards the Korean education system. So for my family, we were Kiragi. So in my case, it was my mother, my brother, and me who came over to US and for the sake of better education. And while my dad was in Korea, supporting us. So looking at the family dynamics, I was definitely different from my peers and people in my school. But not only that, I was an ESL student at one point. And this label has definitely affected my self-confidence and self-identity throughout my childhood. And I was always considered as the odd one. And it has definitely brought unnecessary attention to my fellow peers. And before I knew it, I was getting bullied at school and even on school bus. So I don't know if you guys are all aware about what ESL is. It is an acronym for English as a Second Language. And when you're in the ESL classroom, you're often pulled out from a general education classroom to work in a small group setting in another room with another teacher. And because of this, I was not able to participate in certain group activities with my peers because I was constantly being pulled out. And this form of excluded learning has really affected me throughout my childhood. But luckily, during certain class periods, such as art and PE and music, I was able to join with my peers, and those were the times where I could truly express and show my strengths through the arts. And that was the way how I made friends and shared about my culture, and being able to have full conversation with teachers and peers in English later on. But this has slowly made me become like the melting pot, and I was forming multiple identities that I didn't know I was forming it for myself, but it was mostly for trying to blend in and try to survive and trying to be normal. And as an Asian, the whole like multi-minority myth was being forced on me, and it was really hard to escape that. And at the time, I did not know what multi-minority was, and I did not know that it was affecting me. But because of the constant pressure from the Asian American community and even from my parents, that I need to be good and I need to, succeed. And then during high school, I went to a pretty rigorous competitive high school, and it was mostly, I would say, white students. There were a few people of color, and the school will have this very superficial cultural day, and it was only like a once a year type of thing where they allow us to share our culture. But to me, I appreciated it. I appreciated the day. But what I saw from my point of view was that it only created more stereotypes. And making this culture day like a separate from any other day, something that we should be embracing all the time, like every day in our daily lives, made it seem like these cultures were like something like exotic, and maybe almost like fetishizing these different cultures and even certain group of people of color. But I will say that even though there weren't any, there weren't like multicultural experiences that that I could like remember that has really struck me in my during my childhood, but I have found ways to experience multicultural experiences, such as during my studio arts classes. I had chance to really self-explore my identity and what I'm interested in, and that was my identity and my culture as Korean. And through my artwork and during my student teaching, I've met multiple emergent bilingual learners, also known as ELL or ESL students. And I had a great opportunity to work with them through arts, sometimes not even arts. I'll just have a conversation with them. Sometimes I'll have to take out my Google Translator to try to have a conversation. And I've noticed that it is really important to really listen to students or whoever is not being heard. And for me, I feel like multicultural art education could be used as a gateway to find a voice for the voiceless. So I'm pretty sure, like, as art educators and as people who are interested in art, at one point we've all kind of came across these like multicultural education art lesson plans. And till these days, if you search on internet or Google multicultural education, you can see all these like different art lesson plans, but they're very like very stereotypical and almost kind of insulting in a way that it only highlights certain things and certain things that only certain group wants to see. So the research that I'm interested in is how can we move away from these old way of teaching multicultural education and looking at the framework of current curriculum and instruction. So I started looking at conflict resolution strategies and interpersonal vulnerability because while educators often view cultural differences between young people as opportunities for interpersonal discovery, and differences sometimes first emerge as conflicts. So asking students to share their cultural narratives and encountering those of others, and even re-examining the way they think critically can sometimes put students in a place of vulnerability. So in this vulnerability, such as fear of judgment, there's always a risk for interpersonal conflict, like cultural identity. So it is really important to provide students with necessary accommodation to address some of these issues. And students often do not have these skills to approach difficult conversations. So I think it is crucial that we listen to them and really try to understand their cultural background and beliefs before we try to bring multicultural art education into classrooms. So going back to the idea of third space, cross-cultural collaboration is very crucial in practicing multicultural art education. And I think it really brings a balance among different practices, values, and customs of two or more different cultures. And it really helps with providing multidimensional understandings of the construction of new identities. So with multicultural art education, I also think bringing in multilingual education and merging them together in a classroom can really use art as a way of talking and reconsider how to fully engage students in their own learning and best use the resources and art within their own multilingual educational settings and communities. And to go further with this study, I hope to develop practical curriculum and instruction to assist pre-service and in-service art teachers to be aware about current and social issues regarding multiculturalism and how we can help students acquire the skills and abilities needed to be successful and really grow their mindsets and be creative and build interpersonal skills and confidence and cultural competence and community connection. So finally, creating equity vision for every learning environment and incorporating multiculturalism with multilingual education through the arts may be the teaching strategies that we should pay more attention than ever. And I believe that all students should be provided with equal education and learn to connect existing political and economic and social structures with more critical view. And I truly believe that with carefully curated multicultural art curricula, it can help with some of these social issues. So yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Great, thank you so much, Seoyeon. Does anyone have any questions right off the bat? I do have a question, maybe while other people are thinking. I was just curious what it means from your bio
Mhm.
to be a bilingual 1.5G Korean. In
So-
this, yeah, 1.5G, what that is
what
referring.
does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So 1.5 generation,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So 1.5G means
Oh.
1.5 generation. So it's a bit different from first generation immigrants and second generation immigrants. 1.5 generation usually means someone who was not born in the US, who has immigrated and grew up in the US for a long time, and kind of they're almost considered as US citizens or like looked as Americans, but like citizen wise, or their their citizenship is not like originally from
Yes,
US. Yeah.
totally makes sense. Thank you for
Mhm.
clarifying.
Yeah.
Any questions for Seoyeon about the presentation?
I just want to mention about the 1.5 generation. And if anyone's come like when they come like early, like a preschool and elementary level or high school, they consider as a 1.5 generation. But if they come after college, they are not considered. They are more considered as immigrants. So actually, it's more like a first generation. So has to be, but second generation means like you have to born here, right? So that's actually makes a difference. I have seen many like the first generation, second generation, and 1.5 generation. So it's a very unique term for Asian Americans, other like immigrants.
Yeah, so I feel like this 0.5 always has been stuck with me all throughout my life, and because of that, like I mentioned in the presentation, how third space is something that I always pay attention as an immigrant, sort of, because I'm still Korean, I'm not American. So there's this weird boundary that I always like jump in and out of different spaces, and having the identity, the different identities as Korean and being the 1.5 generation in the US really makes me look through different lenses when I'm in a classroom and outside of classroom, or in a certain community. So yeah, I feel like 1.5 is like being in the third space, sort of. Yeah.
Oh, Mattea, you're muted.
How about now?
Yep, we can hear you. Yep.
Great.
Oh.
Okay.
No, she's frozen. Oh, wait.
Oh. Okay, my Zoom is doing that weird thing again, but hopefully you can hear me. Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Do we have any other questions to wrap it up?
I just wanted to say in tandem, these two conversations and these two presentations by Tehan and Seoyeon were so informative and really, they really complemented each other a lot. And I just wanted to thank you both so much. I really enjoyed seeing what you both work on. It's such an honor.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank
Thank you for letting me be a part of this as well and learn from you.
Thank you so much for having me, Seoyeon. It was wonderful hearing your presentation, and yeah, hopefully I'll see some of y'all in the next talk.
Yeah.
I also want to say thank you for wonderful presentation. Both of your Tehan and Seoyeon is great, and it's wonderful to hear about like more focus on something else, just starting from me and then my identity and exploration, and that's actually really, really important, very powerful, empowering, also audience too. And then so thank you for sharing your website to the Tehan, and that's great. And also Seoyeon, actually there's hopefully next year we're gonna have there'll be a book coming out about the counter stories of Asian American educators' identities, and there's a lot of like what you do in this presentation. There might be some more other people's writing about it right now. So hopefully, Asian American educators got connected and building some the community together. Yeah, thanks for the presentation.
Thank you so much.
Great. Well, I think we can wrap it up with that, and hopefully see you all in other sessions today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna go to the other one, to the Harrison one. Do you want that link, or are you?
No, my computer's about to die and I have to shower.
Okay, cool. You did it. I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
Great.